Our new house was finally finished, and I was so excited that our new life was about to begin. But then my in-laws suddenly showed up. "We're going to live here now, so you need to move your parents out," they said. I was shocked and didn't understand what was happening, so I turned to my husband for help. He sighed and said, "This is how it is. You need to tell your mom and dad." Then my in-laws started moving their things into our house, excited to see the place. I coldly asked, "Do you know whose house this is?" "My name is Sarah, and I'm 35 years old. I work in an office, and my husband, Jack, and I have been married for 3 years. We don't have kids yet, but we're happy together. But lately, I've been worried about my parents because they're getting older and their health is getting worse. So I decided to talk to Jack about the possibility of living with them." Jack said, "I don't mind living with your parents. It will be good for both of you." "Thank you, Jack. I'm so glad I married such a kind person." We planned to move in with my parents, but there was a problem. My parents lived far from the city, and it would be hard for both of us to work from there. Plus, our apartment was too small for 4 adults, and we didn't even have space for a baby if we had one. I came up with an idea. "What if we build a new house?" Jack's face lit up. "I like that idea. Let's build a house where everyone can live comfortably." He agreed, and we quickly started planning to build a new home. When I told my parents, they felt bad at first, but when I explained we were thinking about the future, like when we have kids, they understood. It made me happy to see them supportive. Jack and I met with a real estate agent to discuss the details. We wanted to find a place close to a hospital for my parents and near a train station for us. We thought about how many floors the house should have and how big it should be. I asked my parents for their opinions, but they were just happy to live with us and left it to me. Jack, however, had many ideas and was very involved, which helped a lot. Every time we agreed on something, I got more excited, knowing we were getting closer to our dream house. After a lot of planning and research, we finally hired a contractor and were ready to start building. Building the house was a lot of work, and because we were both working, it took a long time. We were exhausted, but happy. The house layout was exactly what we wanted, and it felt like a big achievement after all the effort. But even though it was taking a while, we were still excited and looked forward to the day it was finished. Then my in-laws found out we were building a house, and they started calling me all the time. "Sarah, we're coming to visit. I heard you're building a house." "Yes, that's right. It should be ready by the end of the year." "That's wonderful. Tom is doing great. Why don't you come by sometime and we can talk more?" My husband and I went to visit them for the weekend. When we got there, they greeted us with big smiles. "Congratulations on your new house. Isn't it exciting to build a home?" my father-in-law said, smiling as if it was his own. "Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. I want everything to be perfect, but I also want to move in as soon as possible. It's been a busy time," I replied. We talked excitedly about the house. "Oh, I want to see the floor plan," my mother-in-law said. Jack showed her the pictures on his phone. "Wow, this house is huge. There's plenty of room for everyone," she said. "Yeah, we're planning to live with my parents, so we need this much space." "Living with your parents?" My in-laws looked at Jack, surprised. "You're moving in with Sarah's parents?" "Yes, that's right. Sarah's parents have been having trouble with their legs and hips lately, so we decided to move in with them. That's why we bought a new house." "I see. Well, good luck then." I could tell that my mother-in-law and father-in-law's tone had changed. I started to understand why they weren't happy about this. They probably didn't like the idea of my parents living with us instead of them. So I decided to change the subject. "How are you guys doing? Are you feeling okay?" "We're fine. Nothing has really changed." "Yeah, just the same old routine." "All right then. Let's talk about the new house. Do you know which room your parents will take?" "Oh, we're thinking about this room." My husband didn't seem to notice that his parents were upset, but I could tell that they weren't too happy about my parents moving in with us. They didn't like that my parents were a priority over them. I felt a little bad for them, but since we were building the house with my parents in mind, I thought they should understand. But it seemed like my in-laws didn't see it that way. The house was coming along nicely. Every time I visited, it looked more like our dream home. I was excited, but I also wanted to make sure everything was done properly. I went to see the house with my parents, and they were so happy to see it. I was glad I could do something special for them. But there was something bothering me. My husband had been visiting his parents more often, especially on weekends. Are you visiting your parents again this weekend? Yes. You've been going a lot lately. I need to take care of them. That's why I'm visiting them on my days off. That's so thoughtful of you. Do you want me to come with you? I was worried that my in-laws might be upset. I knew they would be sad that they weren't living with us. So I thought I could help out and show them kindness too. But my husband said, no, it's fine. I'm okay, and went by himself. I was okay with that, but let him know that I'd be there if he needed me. The house was finally done. When the moving day arrived, my husband and I were so excited. We packed up our things and headed to our new house with big smiles on our faces. When we arrived at our new home, I was so excited to finally see it. The house was stunning, and I couldn't help but say wow as I looked at it. I was imagining a life where I'd be cooking while my husband and kids played in the yard and we'd have barbecues together. It felt like the start of a new chapter. My parents were still stuck in traffic, so I decided to wait for them and let my husband know what was happening. But then, unexpectedly, my in-laws showed up. I was shocked and wondered, why are they here? They got out of the car, smiling, and said, we're here. What an amazing house. This is something you can brag about. Isn't it wonderful? Sarah has great taste, my father-in-law said. Yes, I agree, I replied, still confused by their sudden appearance. Then, to my surprise, they started unloading luggage from their car. I rushed over to them. What are you doing? Why are you unloading that? They said, we're moving in today. You need to get rid of your parents. I was completely confused. What are you talking about? My mother-in-law sighed and explained. Normally, a wife is supposed to take care of her husband's parents, so we should live here. What? No. Go call your parents. We're busy moving, I said, frustrated. I didn't understand, so I turned to my husband for help, but he just sighed and said, that's how it is. You need to talk to your mom and dad. I was shocked. This house was built for my parents to live with us. I can't let you do this, I said, my voice shaky with emotion. He got upset with me. You heard my mom. A wife is supposed to serve her husband's family. We'll think about your parents later. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like my husband had been influenced by his parents, or maybe he always thought this way. You two need to take your stuff out of here, I snapped. My mother-in-law and father-in-law ignored me and started going through the house as if it were theirs. They were admiring the place with big smiles, and I said coldly, do you know whose house this is? My mother-in-law looked at me and said, it's Jack's, of course. I couldn't hold back. Don't act like this is your home just because Jack is supporting you and built it for you, I said firmly. They were upset, not even letting me explain myself. It seemed like my husband hadn't told them about our finances. Why did he even build this house if he's just going to let your parents move in? They said. I felt terrible for Jack, realizing how much pressure he was under from his family. I couldn't take it anymore. I was tired of being misunderstood. If you insist on living here, then I will have to ask Jack to return the money I paid for this house, I said firmly. My in-laws looked at me confused. How much did you pay for this house? Probably nothing, right? $100? They laughed. But my husband didn't say anything, his face going pale. I looked him straight in the eyes and said, are you proud of yourself, letting this go on without telling the truth? He seemed lost and asked, what are you talking about? My mother-in-law tried to explain. Jack didn't want to say anything, so I had to tell them. I looked at them both and said, I bought this house with all of my savings. If you want to live here, you'll need to pay me the $500,000 it cost. Their eyes widened in shock. They looked at my husband for confirmation. When my in-laws asked my husband if I really bought the house, he quietly confirmed it. Sarah bought the house. She's head of her department, and her salary is much higher than mine. His parents were shocked. But you've been with your company for so long. Yeah, but I've made a lot of mistakes at work. I'm not moving up, and now I'm even taking a pay cut. I make less than a new graduate, my husband confessed. Suddenly, my in-laws switched their tone completely. They started pleading with me. Sarah, we're sorry for everything we said earlier. We were wrong. Please forgive us and let us live here. I was furious. No, I bought this house to live with my parents. I won't allow you to take their place. If you want to live here, You'll have to pay me $500,000. They looked at each other and said, "We don't have that kind of money." "Then you'll need to leave," I said firmly. "But we sold our house." "If you kick us out, we have nowhere to go," they pleaded. "Rent an apartment then. I'm not letting you stay here. It's impossible for all of us to live under one roof," I said coldly. Then my in-laws began to cry. "We've made mistakes with our investments and are in debt. We sold our house and used our retirement savings to pay it off. We're too old now, and we have nowhere else to turn. We need you." I couldn't believe they were using this sob story. "If you need help, you need to go to your son. I'm not obligated to support strangers." "But we're your in-laws," they argued. "Why won't you help us?" "I'm sorry, but I can't stay married to someone who lets his parents try to take over the house like this. I'm divorcing Jack," I said. Jack panicked. "You can't divorce me," he pleaded. "I want you out of the house now," I replied, standing firm. When he realized I was serious, he started to panic even more. My in-laws tried to beg me again, but I threatened to call the police if they didn't leave. They quickly ran out. Jack stayed calm but sad. "I'm still your husband. I have the right to stay here. If you stay, I'll sue you and have you kicked out," I told him, and he quickly left with his belongings. If his workplace found out about the lawsuit, he would be fired, and he knew that. So he left in a hurry. When my parents arrived, they were shocked to find my husband gone. I explained what had happened, and they were grateful for my decision. They thanked me for standing up for them. It was a relief to have taken control of the situation. I felt glad I got rid of those selfish people before we had kids. After the divorce was finalized, I was living comfortably in our new house with my parents, free from all the drama.